and the children will come trembling from the west. Where are we? In the west. And all the Jews are in the east, so he won't call them. Do you get what I mean? In the sense that, they're not the real Israelites on one hand, and on the other hand, you could also say, no, it doesn't matter where you are. If you step back just a little, well, it's the west. If you move a bit forward, it's the east, right? So you also have to understand that it depends on where you are on earth. Now then, obviously, Yahweh speaks from his own point of view, being in Israel, and the farthest west from Israel is America. Do you get what I mean? So, this, along with a bunch of other verses that say something similar or the same, shows that most of the people of Israel are in the west, all along America, and from here he will gather us. Look at what it says. He will roar and the children will come. So, first he will preach, first he will fight against false doctrines, because remember that Yahushua said he sends his messenger, who is Michael, who comes as a lion, to bear witness. In other words, he comes as a witness among the churches, that is, he comes to preach to the churches. And, on the other hand, it says, repent, or else I will come to you and fight against them, the pastors, with the sword of my mouth. So, Yahweh is saying that he would come to earth, preach in the churches or to the churches, and sadly, because of the situation of the churches in the world, he would fight against the pastors. So, he is going to preach and say things that will directly go against what the world and the pastors of the world preach. So they will see him as a lion, and not a lion in the sense of strong and king, but a lion of Satan, because the devil goes about like a roaring lion. And here it says, he will roar like a lion. Like Satan, the difference is that Satan goes around looking for someone to destroy, someone to devour, meaning he makes them part of himself. In this case, he is roaring, out of anger, because people don't listen to him. But my point is, notice that he uses the same terms that are used to refer to Satan, a roaring lion. Yahweh is going to come roaring like a lion. In other words, they're going to say it's Satan. I hope that's clear, because it's really simple and it's going to be really obvious, and surprisingly, that's exactly what will make people reject the witness like they did with Moses. Now, Israel is to the east of Egypt. So, also, if we were in Egypt, it would be to the west. But obviously, Egypt, when we look at the whole world, is on the eastern side, right? It's to the east when we look at the entire world. But when America wasn't taken into account and only the old world was considered, then that would have been the west at that time. Now, the people weren't taken back to Egypt, they were scattered throughout the whole earth. And as I've said, for that and other reasons, the word or name Egypt represents the whole earth. It represents all the nations where we were cast out, because just as we were enslaved in Egypt, we would be enslaved among the nations because of apostasy, mainly slavery to sin, to error. And just as Jacob entered Egypt with his 70 sons, that's why Egypt represents the 70 nations, the whole world. So, when it says here, like birds they will swiftly come from Egypt and from the land of Assyria like doves, you see, it's saying they are in various nations. Egypt was a world empire. Then came Assyria, another world empire. The whole world. He's saying, I will bring them out of religion, which is like Egypt, and I will bring them out of politics, which is like Assyria. Remember, I always mention that Egypt and Assyria represent religion and government. The New World Order, the false prophet and the beast, the world leader.